Good luck.
Merhabalar herkese, hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün Southern Denmark Üniversitesi ayrıcalığıyla Danimarka'da mühendislik programlarını Signe'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı sağ alt köşede Questions bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Signe, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. So my name is Sina, and I'm from the University of Southern Denmark, as you've already heard. And I'm here to tell you a bit about studying engineering, mainly in Denmark. And I have a presentation that I'd like to show you. If you have any questions, we will have a Q&A session at the end. Otherwise, you are welcome to type something in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer everything. So, first of all, I am sorry if I have to stop and cough for a minute. I'm getting over a cold. But welcome to the presentation, as I said, and I'm from the University of Southern Denmark. First of all, I don't know how many of you know Denmark or have been to Denmark, but a few of the things that Denmark is known for is, of course, all of our cycling. We do a lot of cycling, and I don't know if any of you follow Tour de France, but a Dane did win Tour de France this year, which we're very proud of. We also started out in Denmark, and there are bike lanes everywhere. It is the main mode of transportation. And of course, Denmark's also very known for Lego. Lego is the small building blocks that probably everyone played with as kids, or at least some way or another know them. Then, of course, we also are very known for our wind turbines. We do have a lot of green energy in Denmark. We also known for the phrase hygge, which, as a Danish person, to be honest, I'm getting a tiny bit tired of, because we hear it everywhere, and it's just, to us, it's something that's very normal. It's just a way of life that we do. If you are in Denmark at any point, hopefully for studying, you will never be more than 55 kilometers away from the ocean. So you'll always be able to do a lot of water sports. You will be able to go swimming. Of course, it's a bit cold in the winter, but we do it as well sometimes. Well, personally, I don't anymore, but a lot of people do. And if you like doing water sports, there are a lot of options for doing kite surfing, for uh, rowing, sailing, of course, as well. But we do also have a place that's called Cold Hawaii. And it's a place where you can actually do some actual wave surfing as well. So pretty cool. Of course, we also have the classical Carlsberg. Most people know Echo are the shoes. Maersk is a logistics and shipping company. And then Novozymes is one of the largest companies within the industry of insulin and diabetic research. So those are some of the things that Denmark is known for. Of course, we also have the author Hans Christian Andersen, who wrote The Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, and all of those lovely fairy tales. And speaking of Hans Christian Andersen, I don't know how many of you know, but he was born in a city called Odense in Denmark. And Odense is actually where we have our main campus. So Odense is kind of known as the fairy tale city for that reason. It's a very sweet city, very cute, very hyggelig. And it's, in comparison to a lot of other countries, Odense is a very small city, but it is still the third largest city of Denmark. It has approximately 200 something thousand inhabitants. Of those, 32,000 are students. There are a few other educational institutions in Odense as well, but we have approximately 20 something students in Odense, and all over we have 32,000 students in Denmark. We have 6 campuses and research facilities. The one in Copenhagen, which most people know. The city, when they speak about Denmark, is, oh, Copenhagen. But Copenhagen is only a research facility. That means we don't have any students there. We are mainly located in the other campuses, and the most international one, and the one that I'll be mainly speaking about today, is the one in Sønderborg. And that's because that is our international campus. Everything in Sønderborg is taught in English. You will not have any lessons in Danish. There will not be any study programs on the campus in Danish. Everything's completely in English, which is also why we have so many international students. We have more than 70% international students. We actually had an increase this year, an even larger increase as usual, which means that we're now up at around 80% international students from all over the world. We do have a few from Turkey, but we also have a lot from other places in Europe, We have some from Africa, from Indonesia, a lot from India as well, Colombia, you name it, we have it pretty much, which is really cool to study in. It's a great environment, and everyone, because no one knows anyone when they arrive, everyone gets to know each other. So you'll never feel lonely. You'll get to know a lot of different people from all different places, and because of the way that we teach, you'll also get to work with these people. So you don't just sit in class, hear a teacher talk to you all the time. You work very practically, you work in smaller groups, you are kind of trying to learn how to work in a real life setting. So that means that we're trying to close the gap between studying, which is usually very theoretical in a university, and then real life work afterwards. So you don't come out the other side and don't know how to solder or don't know how to develop or program something. You've only read about it in books. That's not the case with us. We also do have a very modern campus. We're quite happy about our campus. I'll show you a few pictures in a minute, of course, as well. And then, of course, also we have the very Scandinavian lifestyle, which mainly refers to the way that we have a very flat hierarchy. We don't use sir, madam, professor, doctor, anything like that. It's always first name basis. And if you have any questions whatsoever for your professors, you can always run past their office, ask them a question, ask them if you see them in the hallway, or send them an email directly. You don't have to worry about that. From personal experience, I can say that I used to study in Germany as well as Denmark. And when I had to study with or contact my professor for a question I had for an assignment in Germany, I had to contact his secretary, who then had to arrange an appointment for me with him. And it took me 2 months to get this appointment. And by then, I already have the answers because, I mean, I can still read and figure out things for myself, which is also what we hope that you will be able to learn during your studies. Um, so it didn't really make sense to me that it had to take that long. Whereas in Denmark, if you have the question, you need the solution now, you just go and ask, and then you'll have your answer right away. So yeah, that's how we teach and how we want it to be. Um, and the study programs that we offer, I am from the Faculty of Engineering. We also do have a few other faculties. We are a comprehensive university, but I represent the Faculty of Engineering because we are missing a lot of engineers in Denmark. We are lacking engineers, and we really, really would love you to join us in Denmark to study engineering and hopefully also stay afterwards. But of course, that's up to you. But the study programs that we offer for both bachelor's and master's are electronics, then we have mechatronics. Mechanical engineering started last year for the bachelor's. We were hoping that the master will start in 2024. Then we have our engineering, innovation, and business, which is our business engineer. And then from next semester or from next year, we will also have a bachelor in software engineering, in English, of course, as well. For the masters, we still have electronics, mechatronics, the engineering, innovation, and business. The software engineering and robot systems are already there, but they are on our main campus in Odense. So we do have them. They're just not in Sonabo, but you're more than welcome to apply to them, of course. We also have a few others, so if you have questions about study programs that are not on the list, you are more than welcome to write them down and I will talk to you about them. And also, if you have specific questions about these study programs, I'm happy to try and fill you in. As for the campus, this is our lovely one. It's very open, very bright. We have a lot of glass, a lot of open space, as you can see. The big picture that you can see is actually our cafeteria. We have real trees inside. It's not just fake plastic trees, they're actually real. And we have someone who takes good care of the plants. And now that Christmas is coming around, they're also going to put lights in them. It's a bit hard to see on the big picture, but right outside the glass front is actually the bottom picture on the other side. So you can sit outside and have your lunch, and you'll have water right in front of the campus. And the water, as you can see, it's not just a small lake or a stream. It's actually the Baltic Sea that comes in right in front of the university. So you'll have in the summer a lot of course, sailing traffic and people who swim across as well. We don't recommend that. There is quite a lot of stream, but we do have students doing that. The top picture is one of our labs. It's mainly used nowadays for meetings with different companies, to pitching your ideas if you have something that you'd like to start. A lot to do with entrepreneurship, but also if you have something specific that you want to test out, we can do it in there as well. From the outside, you can see the picture, the large picture again is our campus. As I said, there is a lot of glass. And under the yellow box that you can see floating in the air, that's actually where I have my breaks as well. Um, Under there, there's a library, and there again we have the real trees. So it's a really nice area, really nice community we have. On the top picture, you can see our clean room. It's class 100, and it's one of the few in Europe that are available. Which is also why we have a lot of universities, not just in Denmark, but also from other places in Europe, come and use our facilities. And the guy that's standing in normal clothes is standing outside, and then we have this glass front where you can look in, and everyone who's in there have to put on kind of like a hazmat suit, just to make sure they don't bring any more particles into the room. And then on the bottom picture is just to show you that it's not just something that I say when I say that we're working practically. We actually really do. Approximately a third of each semester is with semester projects, which means that you have to work on building, programming, developing something in relation to your study program or the classes that you've had during your semester. But I will come back to that as well. Right now, actually. um, so, as I said, with the practical experience, you'll have your semester projects, uh, and you spend approximately a third of your semester in labs, workshops, working with 3D printers, laser cutters, different drills, different materials, um, pretty much any equipment that you can think of. Of course, there are a few pieces of equipment that you're not allowed to work with by yourself, just because it is heavy equipment. It could be a bit dangerous, so there needs to be an adult, sounds wrong, but an employee to make sure that no one gets hurt. And if there's any piece of equipment that we're lacking, you can always contact us as a student and ask if maybe that would be something that we could invest in. We have bought new equipment recently as well, because there were a few groups that were working on projects where they needed something new. We also have the opportunity of doing an internship. As you saw in the beginning, we have something that we call Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Science. The Bachelor of Science is a normal 3-year bachelor where you'd usually go for a master afterwards, and the Bachelor of Engineering is a 3.5-year bachelor. The 3.5-year bachelor means that you have your internship, which is the additional 6 months. It's a mandatory internship, and then you come back and have your bachelor thesis. Usually a bit more practical, but also the entire program is structured in a way that's a bit more practical, so you have more experience and you will have the title of engineer after you graduate. On the 5th semester, you also have the opportunity for both Bachelor of Engineering, Bachelor of Science, to do something that we call expert in teams. Expert in teams is when all of the engineering programs come together in order to work on a larger scale project. Usually here, companies come in and ask for solutions to their projects or issues that they are having in the company. And it's always good for them to get some fresh ideas, have some new young eyes look at it, new minds, young minds, working in ways that they've never thought of. And we have seen with these expert teams that the group projects have been so great that the companies have actually ended up buying them. And when that happens, the companies do not buy the solutions from us, the university, it buys them from you, the students. The university do provide everything you need, materials, labs, everything, but it's your work, it's your mind, so you get the credit and the money. Quite simple. Then we also have something that we call SDU entrepreneurship labs. The labs are for anyone, not just engineering students, but for anyone that might want to start their own company at some point. Anyone can come with ideas. It doesn't matter how far along you are with these ideas or development of your company. You can always come and ask, what is my next step? how do I pitch this to get funding? What do I do with this? I have this issue in programming. How can I find out what's missing in the market? Um, Things like that. And they will then help you with your next step, how to do a business plan, how to pitch your ideas. We have a vocal lab as well, where you can stand, and we have a specialist helping you how to do presentations and how to talk to people in order to make them invested in your project. And because of these SDU entrepreneurship labs, we are at the moment the #1 entrepreneurship university in Denmark. We have the most startups from students, and not just that, but we have the most successful startups from students, which is really, really cool, especially because it's more than a lot of the business schools as well. So we're very proud of that. Um, and then, of course, because we have a lot of this project work, we are very group oriented, which is also simulating a real life work afterwards, where you will never be an engineer working by yourself in a basement. You'll always have teammates that you work with, which is really important for us and the companies that we work with as well. And then, of course, finding housing can be an issue in some countries. Thankfully, it's not in Denmark. Especially not if you're looking outside of Copenhagen and Aarhus. So if you're looking for student housing, we do have quite a few options. We used to have a housing guarantee, and we're working towards that again, but we've had an increase of students, which is why we don't have it at the moment. But everyone that has applied have been accommodated, so we don't have to worry about that. And the housing itself is also quite cheap. Excuse me. So if you go for a dormitory, the prices range depending on what kind of living situation you choose, from approximately 260 to 400, maybe 450 euros a month, including things like heat, water, electricity, and internet as well. The three options that you have when it comes to housing is: one, you have your own studio apartment with your own kitchen and bathroom. Then two, you have your own apartment with your own bathroom and living space, of course, but you share but you share the kitchen with other people, which then makes it a bit cheaper. And then, sorry, the last option is if you have a partner or some friends or siblings that you like to live with while studying, you are welcome to apply for something that's a larger apartment. So you'll have each your own bedroom, you'll have a common area, and you'll also have, of course, kitchen and bathroom as well. Oops, shit. Sorry, I just completely. There we are again. So sorry. So as for paying for this, we do have some scholarship options. At the moment, we only have scholarships for the masters in mechatronics and electronics. You don't apply separately for these scholarships. It happens automatically when you apply for the study program itself as well. When you these scholarships, let's start there. These scholarships are full scholarships with an additional amount of approximately 3,000 euros that you get each month for living expenses. It should cover your rent, and then, of course, you're more than welcome to work as a student as well in Denmark. On a student visa, you can work up to 20 hours a week in Denmark, and you don't need to know Danish in order to have a part-time job, so you don't have to worry about the language. If you'd like to learn Danish, we do offer free Danish classes for all students, which is also really great if you want to use our first job guarantee. I'll get back to the first job guarantee. But here are first a few pictures of our dormitories. As you can see, the top picture in the kitchen is one of our shared kitchens, where you in the back can see that there are several ovens, there are several cupboards, and the colored ones have numbers so that you'll have a key for your own cupboard, so you don't have to worry about taking someone else's stuff, and you don't have to worry about someone else taking yours by mistake. And it's the same for the refrigerators. You will have your own fridge, not with a key, of course, but just to make sure that No one takes anyone else's. And there are a lot of green areas to all of these dormitories, and there are also usually some inside activities you can do, like foosball table or table tennis or something like that. Some of the companies that we work with are these. Of course, we work together with Lego, which is one of the largest that people know. Siemens as well. But we also do work with more local but still international companies like Linak, Danfoss, Grundfos as well. And then some more smaller local ones like Project Zero, which is trying to make the city of Sonneborg, where the campus is located, into a CO2 neutral city by 2030. So far, it's going pretty well, but we could use our help or your help as well to improve even more. And of course, also to spread the ideas to other places. We do have, as I mentioned, the first job guarantee. The first job guarantee is for 6 months after you graduate. It's not an internship, it's a job. So that means you are guaranteed a job of 6 months in a company in the area with a full salary of an engineer. And it's not just getting coffee, you actually also do engineering work. And we do have this because, as I said in the beginning, we are needing a lot of engineers in Denmark. The starting salary of engineers in Denmark is approximately 4,500 euros a month, which is pretty well. It's pretty good, to be honest. And that's a starting salary. Not to mention, you will progress very quickly as an engineer in your salary, as well as also your assignments. And we have tried to incorporate project management in every single one of our engineering programs, just to make sure that you are ready to progress even faster, and know how to work on projects and manage them as well, which is a really, really good skill to have in your job as an engineer. In order to get this first job guarantee, we do have a few requirements. One is that you have to collaborate with a company during your study programs. It can either be an internship, an in-company project, or your master or bachelor thesis. It cannot be semester projects because they're not big enough for you to actually work so closely together with companies. Secondly, you have to complete your degree in a set time. You're not allowed to delay your degree. You have to finish it within the 3.5 years for the Bachelor of Engineering or 2 years for the Master. And last but not least, we would like you to learn Danish as well, just to a level of B1. And as I said before, we do offer free Danish classes, and we have had students get to a C1 level within their bachelor. So it is possible, definitely. The hardest part about learning Danish is, other than the pronunciation, which is absolutely horrible, and I'm saying that as a Danish person, is the practice or lack thereof, because Danes have a tendency to switch to English as soon as we can hear someone struggling, because we want to be nice, we want to be helpful, but it's not really helpful if you're trying to learn the language. So if you're learning Danish, just insist on practicing Danish with us, and we will switch back to Danish for sure. And of course, as I said, the first job guarantee is for 6 months. And after these 6 months, or during these 6 months, hopefully you can prove to your company that you are worth keeping. And then they will offer you a permanent position. Or you could say, this was nice, I have the experience, now I'd like to go somewhere else. That is completely up to you. About the city itself, the city, if I don't remember if you, I don't know if you remember the map that I showed you in the beginning, but the city itself is located on an island. And that also means that we do have a lot of water sports, not just in Denmark, but also in the city itself. The city is quite small. It has approximately 30,000 inhabitants, but a lot of international speakers. And in relation to how small the city is, there are a lot of activities to do. Personally, I like to go for escape rooms, laser tag, paintball, go bowling, go for a ride on a bicycle, hike, or ride on my motorcycle as well. Also do love a lot of paddle boards in the summer. So there are a lot of things to do. There are also a lot of like different museums, cafes, bars, restaurants that you can hang out in. We also have a game cafe, which is quite nice. And of course, just the area is just really, really nice and historical. And Germany is really, really close, and you can easily get around Denmark as well. Yeah. When you get to Denmark, of course, there are a lot of things that are completely new. You don't know anyone, but these guys in the picture, the intro team, will make sure that you get to know people. Therefore, they have a lot of different activities they can participate in. They have something that they call dorm race, where you go on bicycles, of course, because it's Denmark. Go on bicycles from one dormitory to another, and then you see where other people live. You show your dorm, and then you just have a good time, get to know each other, party a bit. We also have something that we call pub crawl, where you see the different bars. Of course, if you don't drink alcohol, that is completely up to you. You can still participate. There's no pressure there. And then we have an intro party as well, where the university is cut off, and then there's just a big party where everyone is just getting to know each other and happy. We also do have a weekend in the beginning of the semester where you will be kidnapped. Of course, you sign up for this kidnapping. It's not just something that's horrible and rude, but you buy a ticket for the intro tour. You get blindfolded, put on a bus. No cell phones allowed, no computers allowed, and then they drive you somewhere where no one really knows where it is except the intro team, and then you just have a lot of social activities, some parties, some concerts maybe, and just have a good time. And then of course you will be brought back after the weekend as well. The intro team also has a lot of other activities that they do with the students. Before COVID, they turned the entire campus into one large escape room where groups of students, but also employees, could participate and compete as well. I know that they're trying to or planning on doing it again or something similar again. And if you have any ideas of something fun that could be done, you are more than welcome to apply to be part of the intro team. They're always happy to have new members. I know a lot of people think that Denmark's very expensive, and that is the case if you are living in Copenhagen or one of the other larger cities like Aarhus. However, because we are so close to Germany, only 30 minutes away approximately in a car, and because the dorms are also somewhat cheap, most of our students say that they spend around 600 to 700 euros a month, including rent. And as you can see here, a few examples of what a few things can cost. I will say though that a liter of milk has gone up to 2 euros. But other than that, it's pretty much similar. And as a student, you'll have a student card, so you'll have some discount on meals and restaurants and cinema tickets, um, beers and pubs and things like that. So it's quite decent. And of course, a lot of students also go to Germany to buy groceries just because it's cheaper than Denmark and it's not that far away. Some practical information about moving to Denmark is, of course, also when you arrive, we we will have the social activities, but we'll also have some practical information to give you. One of them is, of course, how to get your CPR number, which is in Denmark your social security number. So you can go to the doctor for free, you can open a bank account, you can go to the emergency room if anything happens, and a lot of other things as well. The Social Security also gives you a Social Security card and health card, and it covers everything if something should happen in regards to health. We are at the moment trying to make dental health part of it as well, but it's not yet. We'll see. Maybe it is by the time that you arrive here as students. And of course, with the financing, um, there are student jobs you can have. There are a lot of job portals in Denmark that are in English. And of course, we also have our own. I also have a lot of students hired where they represent the university. They talk to high school students. They talk to other university students about how it is to study in Denmark. And yeah, the minimum salary in Denmark is not set by law. It's set by different unions. But the minimum salary that you should accept as a student is around 13.5 euros. It's okay if it goes down to like 12.5, but it shouldn't go further down than that. If they're trying to pay you less than that, that means that the place of work is not part of a union and that they're not protecting your rights as a student worker. Therefore, it's of course important to be aware of those things. Make sure you get a contract up front before you start working and everything like that. Not that there's a lot of cheating going on, but it's just good to know these things in case there is an asshole somewhere, because there are assholes everywhere, also in Denmark, unfortunately. But most people are very nice, I promise you. But yeah, it's really good to know, and of course the places that pay you a bit more also expect more from you, but they also protect you more. For example, the students that I have hired, I pay approximately 30 euros an hour in order to make sure that I can trust them in representing the university. I can send them on fairs by themselves. I can send them to different countries to represent SDU. I can trust that they'll do a good job. And of course, we were also happy to pay that amount because to us, it's not that bad. And of course, if you're interested, you are more than welcome to send an application as well after starting with us. And of course, the application process is quite early. The application deadline for the bachelor is the 15th of March. Of course, you don't have your final diploma at that point, but you should send in your transcript records, your high school certificate by the 5th of July. When you apply, you can say approximately when you have your final diploma, and then we can push the deadline if you don't have it by the 5th of July. We also need a statement of hours and then an English certificate. We accept either IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge. And then for IELTS, we need a minimum band average of 6.5. And for TOEFL, we need a minimum score of 88. For masters, the deadline is the 1st of February, which is really early. And we would need your, of course, your transcript records again, your graduate diploma. But again, if you don't have it by the 1st of February, if you're not done with your bachelor yet, you send it after. I believe the deadline for that is the 15th of May or something. Our admissions office will know much more. And then, of course, course descriptions of bachelors, proof of language requirements. And if you have any supplementary courses like summer school or anything similar, send that as well. And that is it for my presentation. Do you have any questions? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So I can see there are a few comments, most of them saying hi. Oh, there are some questions over here. So, are you allowed to work during your study? If yes, up to how many hours? So, as I said, I think this question's probably been mentioned before I said it. You are allowed to work up to 20 hours a week. And then, of course, the salary itself doesn't really matter. The 20 hours are during the semesters. And in the summer break, you are allowed to also work full time. Because the most important thing is that during the semesters, you work, of course, mainly focusing on your study program, and then you can work part time. But since there's a summer break and it's quite long, usually in Denmark, almost around like almost 3 months, to be honest, you are more than welcome to work full time because you don't study. Then we have another question. Could you please tell me more regarding providing jobs for international students after graduating? So for jobs in general, both part-time and um, also full-time afterwards, we do a lot of things. We do have a lot of, in general in Denmark, a lot of job portals that are in English, as I said, where you don't need Danish. And then, of course, we have the first job guarantee for our engineering students. If you're not interested in engineering, um, we still do have a lot of companies that we work with, and we do offer a lot of options of doing in-company projects or writing your theses with companies. Um, Furthermore, we do also have something that we call matchmaking events, or kind of like fairs on campus, where the companies have their own stand, and then you can walk around. You can do some matchmaking, or some networking. Give them your resume, and also kind of do a lot of networking and make sure that you find a good or build up a good relation with the different companies so that you can have a part-time job afterwards. Uh, the first job guarantee is really great, but I will say that we also do have a lot of students, even before we had the first job guarantee, that had a job in the area before, right after graduation. I think we looked into it, and I think we found out that approximately 82% of all of our students in Sundabo, where the international campus is, had a job in the area right after they graduated. So that's both for social science, business, engineering, and humanities as well. So we do quite a lot, and we want, of course, our students to find a job and also to stay in Denmark afterwards, if possible. So we do quite a lot of things. Hope it's okay that I'm not typing an answer. So do we have to learn Danish? I mean, is there a compulsory language class? It's not compulsory. It's not obligatory. It's not obligatory. It's or mandatory. It's voluntary. You can do Danish if you'd like. There are a few companies that offer Danish classes, and they're taught on campus. So you pay a fee in advance, sort of like what's it called in English? I completely forgot. A deposit. You pay a deposit that you will then, of course, get back. So technically, the classes are for free, and then you just take the classes step by step if you want to. Again, you don't have to. It's voluntarily. It's you choose if you want to, but we do recommend it. What makes SDU different from other schools in Europe? That's a really good question. I think what makes us different is that we're so invested in our students. We really do everything that we can in order to make sure that you are comfortable. We try to make sure that or help as much as we can when you are looking for a part-time job, for an apartment at the beginning. As I said, we're trying to have a housing guarantee in all of our campuses. We also really try to be a research university, but a research university that is closing the gap between studying and working afterwards. In general, as I said, we have the semester projects, and that's not just for engineering. We also have programs for business administration, global business relationships, that during their semesters have had projects where they're making a business plan for real companies, not just made up companies or their own ideas of a company. It's been a real company for the real project. How do they cross into a new market, for example? And then just that, I mean, that's pretty general for Denmark as well, but that we are so flat in the hierarchy um, that we see you as equals, and if if you have a question, both for engineering, business, social science, humanities, anything, if you have a question, ask. Be straightforward. And if you disagree with the professor, we strongly encourage you to say so. We do not want you to sit and be like, okay, if the professor says so, then that must be right, even though you have a feeling that that's not the case. So if you are, for example, sitting in class in, say, our bachelor in European Studies, which is in international politics and relations, and one of the professors who guest lecturers are like, oh yeah, so this is the most important part of the European Union or foreign policy, so something like that. This is what we say is important and what makes it work. We strongly encourage you to say, actually, this is what I think is important, and this is what my experience says makes people across nations work better together. That's one of the things that we are very resilient about, and we really, really want to happen, because that's also what makes you stronger personalities and makes you ready for international and international market and being the adults that you're supposed to be. So another question is, are there programs related to business administration? Which programs are in demand, programs at SDU for postgraduate work permit? So disclaimer, as I said in the beginning, I am from the Faculty of Engineering, so I don't remember every single one of our business administration programs and how they are in demand for job permits or job in general afterwards. But we do have quite a few within the area of business administration. I recommend you go to our website, sdu.dk, quite straightforward, and then go for masters and master programs or postgrad programs, because there is a really long list. Sorry. Terribly sorry. As far as I remember, we have approximately 15 different business administration programs. We have everything from like finance, economics, accounting, to brand management, international business administration, and management in general, human resource management. We also have something with social media digitalization and something. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but there are a lot of options, and I'm not sure which ones that are most sought after, unfortunately. But I will say most of them get a job in the future right after graduation, um, especially if you have something like human resource management, or of course, again, if there's something that's a bit more general that you can use in a lot of other positions, that's always good. And just like with our engineering programs, we try to have at least project management as part of our study programs. Sorry. But we also try, especially with business, to have other kinds of management included as well. Of course, depending on what kind of study program it is. But yeah, we also have a lot of areas within business administration related to marketing as well. But check out sdu.dk/en for English, of course, as well. That is probably my best advice. So I hope I answered every question that you have.
Yes, thank you very much for the presentation, Signe. Also, could you please share your email address on the chat box? So if
Yes,
the attendees
absolutely.
have
If
any
you have
further questions.
Yes, if you have any questions regarding anything, I will do my best to answer them. My email is now in the chat, and if you have any questions regarding to business or social science or anything else, admission, I will forward the emails to the right people, of course.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the great presentation. Also, I think we have another question from Ekrem.
Right, the tuition fees for the engineering masters. So for the engineering tuition fees are for the masters, let's see if I remember correctly, they are 6,950 euros per semester. For the Bachelor of Engineering, it's a bit less, but for the Bachelor of Science in Engineering, it's the same. For the Bachelor of, I believe, the Bachelor of Engineering, it is 5,460 euros per semester. And yeah, approximately there. I have written it down just in case. So it's not the most expensive one, but it's also not cheap, of course. But if you are lucky enough to get a scholarship, we take away all those costs.
That's good to know. Thank you for your answers. You covered all of the questions.
That is good. And if that is all, I will just say thank you very much for listening to me. And I hope to see some of you. And if you are interested in hearing anything more or have questions, feel free to send me an email.
Yes, thank you very much again. Also, we would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Southern Denmark University ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşmış olan mail adresinden Signe'ye her zaman ulaşabilirsiniz. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, Signe. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.